Acknowledge me!
Let's try that again. Hi, guys. Anybody watching? My name is Ken, and I am your host for Wrestling is Awesome. And you're here, hopefully, to listen to some guys talk about WWE wrestling. Joining me from the team is our regular Alex. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing very, very well. I thought Raw was probably one of the best Raws in a while, so I'm looking forward to talking about that.
All right, good stuff. And also joining us for a second straight week, special guest Sam from Sam's on Wrestling. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing really well. I saw the text 8:05. Anyone available? I've just sat there eating crisps, going, I suppose I could spare some time and talk about Raw and Smackdown. Why not? Of course.
Why not? Absolutely. Right, let's get straight into it. Let's first of all talk about the men's elimination chamber qualifying matches. So we had one on SmackDown, one on Raw to fill the last two spots. SmackDown for some reason seemed to be all triple threat matches, where Raw didn't. I don't know why, but there's definitely enough talent on Raw. Well, no, I think Raw could definitely fill the trip. Why was
Or they just know who they want on Raw.
Yeah, I think it is. I think more Raw is probably a little bit more clear cut, but there's definitely people they could have put into those matches as qualifiers. If you're going to put the women's intercontinental champion in your qualifiers, then why not be a men's?
Why does Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio get to have a single, but Damian Priest has to go through Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu?
Right, exactly. It just
maybe they wanted
fair.
an excuse for Fatu to be. They want Fatu to be included as in part of it, but then they don't want anyone to beat him clean.
I think it's discrimination, and they should send it to HR personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he's the kind of person that cares about HR, considering he nearly battered somebody behind the stage.
Right, well, let's talk about SmackDown first. We have Braun Strowman, Damian Priest, and Jacob Fatu. It was an okay match. I think Jacob Fatu had a couple of great spots in that match in particular, but it all kind of exploded at the end where we had a lot of interference. So Solo Sikoa came out to try and assist Jacob Fatu into winning that match because he definitely seems to be on the side of the bloodline. It's not about the struggle for power; it's about them and moving forward as a family. And but Cody Rhodes came out to interfere. Tama Tonga was there, and basically Cody hit Solo Sikoa on the outside of the ring with a crossroads, which I did love the fact that Solo took the time to adjust his t-shirt because it's like, yeah, I don't want my belly out on screen when I'm taking this bump. Thank you very much. And that gave enough time for Damian Priest to hit the South of Heaven on Braun Strowman for the win. So I've seen some backlash online in terms of Damian Priest in this chamber match. So let's break it down first of all. The match itself and the outcome, and we'll talk about whether it's a right decision or not afterwards. Alex, how'd you find the match? And for us, it was predictable. We predicted Damian Priest last week. I didn't see it going any other way. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a showcase for Jacob to again show what he can do against top people. He was the boss throughout the majority of the match, doing the big moves, putting the big impacts on, and then got exactly kind of what we thought was going to happen, which was he'd get big booted to the outside where he wasn't involved, and Damian would finish off Braun. I was very surprised at the height that he got on the South of Heaven, considering the enormous size of Braun Strowman. So Damian Priest is the right person for the chamber. He's the right person for the story because he's got involvement with everybody in there. So I'm not at all surprised, and I'm just glad they protected Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how we saw it, because it was Damian Priest was champion not so long ago. He held it from WrestleMania to SummerSlam, and to not have him in the mix wouldn't make sense. And I think, Sam, will come to your point, because I think you made a comment on somebody's Twitter, and it's just a case of you don't put Jacob Fatu in the chamber to lose. That doesn't make any sense. Although he'll look great in it, that's not for him right now. Tell us.
there's a few things going on here. So we'll start with the obvious with Jacob Fatu. 5 people have to lose in the Elimination Chamber. Now, that's fine. If you are a main eventer, you can actually lose. It's very easy to lose. Look at Kevin Owens. I don't think Kevin Owens has won a match in 4 years. But you're allowed to lose when you're a main eventer. But when you're on the ascent, or even you've got an undefeated streak, it's just a stupid thing to do to just put someone in there. And you also
They have to take a pin or submit.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there submission in the chamber?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, those.
as well. I mean, unless they want to do a Chris Jericho from what was it, 2012, and just have him be kicked out and just, oh, I'm too hurt, so what? Get back in the chain. Oh no, I was slightly kicked by a CM Punk graze. I'll never make it back into this steel asylum. Whatever. And no, Jacob.
Unlike Kurt Angle, who got pedigreed through a table and legit concussed and still came back to the ring.
Yeah, but in the year 2000, there's a man slowly kicking him from behind, going, "Get back out there! Get back out there! You meant to win this one! Get out there! Do it now! Broken freaking neck!" But so yeah, Jacob being in the match, it would have been great. I can see him winning it next year. I'm already throwing that out there. I can see Jacob winning it next year because he'll be really, really entertaining. But no, he needs to not be in that. But the problem I'm having right now with, let's go with the IWC, is how fickle. Any new toy, we must play with the new toy now. Damian Priest, we're done with you. He's like Woody from Toy Story, just slowly falling to the ground. You know, because Buzz Lightyear Fatu has turned.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Ridiculous. Like, everyone was there going, oh, how good has Damian Priest been? Oh, he's really showing that he's a main event level. And now people are like going, oh, if Triple H Big Nose books Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes. He's not, lads. Calm down. All right, calm it down already. He's trying to show that everyone's a threat. Because
it's part of the narrative.
When you watch the Elimination Chamber for the last 10 years, there's been 2 people who could win and 4 nobodies. I really wanted to swear that. That's 4 absolute nobodies, clowns, mid-carders. Like, you sat in a room with you guy going, oh, who's going to win this? Is it going to be Big Daddy V? Is it going to be MVP? Is it going to be Finlay? One of those is going to WrestleMania. No. So it's nice that Damon Priest and Cody had an eyeball to eyeball, because you go, oh, look, there's the match that won't happen. And I don't understand why suddenly we don't like Damian Priest anymore.
Yeah.
I know he had a bad end with Finn, and that just went on and on and on, and it still might go on and on.
It seems like Triple H is good at booking initial stories, but then not keeping them rolling once that story's finished, because
or holding on to it for too long.
Exactly. Which is exactly what happened with the Judgment Day. I mean, how long ago was I saying the Judgment Day were my favorite faction?
Yeah,
in WWE. They were my favorite faction. I loved what they were doing. I thought they were brilliant, and then I got bored. And now I don't care. And if they break up, I don't care. Because to be fair, to me, they're not the Judgment Day that they were.
No.
Yeah.
And they ruined that faction, which was a really, really good faction. Rhea didn't need to leave. Damien didn't need to leave. They could have continued to be baddies, despite the fact how much the fans... Doesn't matter if the fans want Rhea as a babyface. Keep it from them. You know, I just...
The babyface thing is really interesting, actually, because I made this point on my channel the other day. When was the last time WWE booked babyfaces and the crowd enjoyed them? Weren't against them, weren't enjoying the heels. At the moment, it's one of the best things Triple H has done is actually the babyfaces are strong. They never seem to lose. And no one is booing them. Like, that's a real achievement. You think about Cena from 2006.
How long before they turn on Cody?
I don't think they're going to turn on Cody. He's too...
I
don't think so.
I mean, maybe it's the miserable old men like me who just want to see him go, who wants to see him go that. The kids obviously love him because he's their John Cena. But I don't know how long you can have such a cookie cutter champion for.
The difference with Cody to Cena is Cody is still cutting those promos every now and then, that's showing them he can be serious and getting into the fight. And
like Kevin Owens.
And Kevin Owens.
Triple H is doing those little things of going, are you going to get sick of them? Here you go. I'll show him being, a triumphant hero. And it's really well done. Like, the person I thought might start getting booed is Rhea, because she's been booked way too strongly. She's overly booked as strong. So if there's going to be someone who might get turned on, it's her, because she has to be a heel. She's 7'3" and bigger and powerful.
They've segmented that by now giving everyone to shout at Charlotte Flair. Your favourite.
Yeah, all right, whatever. But so I think that's the thing we have to praise with Triple H is the babyface role. But because the babyface is so strong, it means that the heels have been awful, pretty much across the board. There is no good heels in WWE right now, and there's hardly any. Which means that when you're trying to build these stories,
Drew McIntyre is technically a heel. Kevin
yeah,
Owens is technically a heel.
But yeah, people love him at the same time. Nobody, and everyone loves Jo.
Logan Paul's a
Nobody-
great heel.
He's probably the only one where people genuinely just don't like him, and they respect him enough for what he can do, but they still don't like him, and it won't be whatever he can do. But yeah, people like Drew, Kevin Owens, they can say what they want, and people love them for it. So they're not really heels.
even if they're
They're
being
not
really
Triple H
heels,
heel.
because they're not being booked overly strong, it's so hard to get to the culmination of a story. So he's holding on to it almost like he's trying to rebuild their heel so they can do another match. But he doesn't rebuild
Dom's a
doesn't
great heel.
enough. Yeah, but he loses all the time. This is the problem. They're all great. I'm not saying that.
You're right, okay.
You see what I mean? So these are good heels. They're all good heels, but they lose. So when you're trying to get to that big match, it doesn't matter. So because it doesn't mean anything. So they kind of have to like wait, and he holds on and he holds on, hoping that it can reheat again. But this is the problem when you have these 4-man, 5-match cards.
Yeah.
You missed out.
Probably the only one that's really been successful at that is Gunther. So he, so
He's
he's
going to lose at Mania again.
yeah, but oh God, well, we'll come on to that. So Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor was the second qualifier for the men's. Again, predictable. It was going to be Seth, but it was a decent match. Balor kicked out of the pedigree after 3. But
Yeah. I was like, oh. And that's
3.25.
on Finn, not the ref. The ref's
no, it wasn't. The ref.
It's just kicking out.
Yeah,
There's no excuse to kicking out.
talking about pedigrees, the pedigree that Finn did on Seth was like total no protection for Seth because he had his arm completely fully hooked the whole way down. You had to have to trust that. But I mean, you're never having a bad match between those two. You know, they're two of the best to ever step between the ropes, and it was just a great match. I love that they always throw back to doing a buckle bomb, because that always harks back to their history, especially because he doesn't do the buckle bomb as often anymore. Have you noticed that?
Who, Seth?
Yeah, it's not quite.
Yeah, well, especially after
widely.
Sting as well. Yeah.
But he went through a phase of using it in every single match, even recently, and all of a sudden I've noticed it's not there, and then he obviously used it against Finn. Interestingly, while I was watching Raw, I was flicking through Instagram, always a stupid fucking thing to do, and I saw the final picture of the final chamber thing at a very small glance, and I flicked it away, and I thought I saw Finn as
No, right.
so I actually spent a lot of that match thinking, oh my God, Finn's going to win this. And I'm like,
do it.
oh, no, I actually scanned away quick enough that I didn't see.
That's another reality. But predictable winner, and it makes sense for the chamber. I won't go too much onto the chamber right now, but because we'll do a prediction show for it, because it's still over a week away, like 1st of March. How are you feeling about the 6 individuals in there? Are they the right picks for now? I mean, are we surprised that Roman isn't part of this?
With Roman, if Roman's not if Roman's not winning, Roman ain't going. It's pretty simple. I'm amazed he entered the Rumble. Quite frankly,
He was
So-
bruised, though, wasn't he?
well, they rused everyone. Everyone got rused.
Good point. Yeah.
But
It's excluding Jey Uso.
you know what? Even he's been rused somehow. I still think he's walking around going, "Did I actually win that? Are you still?"
Did John just fall off because he's done that before as well?
Yeah. That's why he looked so shocked. I was like, ooh, that wasn't supposed to happen.
He was meant to be eliminated like 10 people earlier and just forgot his spot.
Yeah.
As soon as I go, you meant to go, and he was like, "Oh, I could push him and win. Just shoot to run the Royal Rumble."
Can you imagine? That'd be amazing. Right. So yeah, we'll come on to more of the Elimination Chamber probably next episode, and we'll do a whole predictions program of that. And I think a lot of that will then lead into what I feel thoughts are going to be for WrestleMania. But again, we're going to do another whole show on that. The Women's Elimination Chamber. So again, we had 2 more matches. We had Naomi versus Chelsea Green. Again, really predictable. Putting in a mid-card champion against Naomi, who again is a tag team champion, but it was just, again, you're making your mid-card champion seem weak. It just doesn't make sense. You've got enough of a card there to have these different kind of qualifying matches. You know, Pure Fusion Collective and stuff like that. You have these other people there that could be, well, 2 of them now rather than 3 of them, but they could be in qualifying matches. You know, you don't need them in the mid card title run. So yeah, really annoyed with that. But Naomi, she's through, and it makes sense because of where she is on the card right now. And then we had Roxanne Perez defeating Raquel Rodriguez.
You mean Rodan Perez?
Roseanne?
Did you miss this? Lydia Garcia got an 8
Yeah,
round.
no, I missed that.
Yeah, so she went Roseanne Perez, and then you got Michael Cole. Gotta go, Roxanne, it's Roxanne, yeah. Roxanne Perez is over there. Roxanne, look at her.
She better rewind it back to make sure that's what I heard. It's
Snap.
I'm amazed he didn't start singing Roxanne, to be honest, just to really hammer it home.
Yeah, Lillian's not had the best of times since she's come back. She's been a bit rusty.
I find her weird. The way she says champion chap, I find it really weird every time.
I don't care that much. She's fine. She does the job. It's fine. Like, because you got the other one who's just a Samantha Irvin clone, really.
Yeah.
She says it in the
Just
exact
not as
same
good.
way.
Yeah.
It's almost like
She's good, but she's not. The problem is we were spoiled with Sam, and she's gone now. And now she's like, she's coming out saying she hated the fact that she was an announcer and whatever.
don't know. I literally our 2024 awards, we had the special recognition award. And I've been putting people who we've been winning for months, you know, because you change it and you want to keep updating it. And literally, I had her there as the special recognition award all the way until October when she left. And I was like, no, I can still give it to her. And then the amount of nonsense she started spouting, and I was like, oh,
She'd be getting promo lessons from Ricochet.
yep. That man. No, I'm not talking.
There's a reason why Triple H didn't give him a microphone.
The is I want to talk about Ricochet because I in WWE I loved Ricochet and I wanted him to have more of a push, and now he's gone to AEW, been given a push, and I've realised why Ricochet never got given a push because he is the best in the ring. He is an absolute phenomenon when it comes to flying around the ring, but he hasn't got the rest of the package. And the thing that was interesting was obviously they went to AEW. He went with what's the Brummy guy called, who's in AEW, who he does. Yeah, Ospreay. Will Ospreay. Is he Brummy?
Yeah. No, that's it.
That's yeah. Good as makes no difference. And they repeated their like sequence from years ago, and you can just tell that they're not as young as they were or as good as they once were, because it was not as smooth as it should have been. And it's like, why go back and do that again if you can't do it as well? But yeah, no, I'm not too disappointed that Ricochet's gone now when I was.
I feel like some people jump on my bandwagon and I don't like them on my bandwagon. I like being on the island on my own. And I was one of the people saying how I thought Ricochet was rubbish. And I've been saying that well into his WWE career. I went, great, you can do a flip. What else can you do? Can you sell a match? Can you build a story in a match without having to do a flip? We literally have just started reviewing TNA from 2006. We're having a great time. It is hilariously bad. Sam has never seen it. Baby Sam, the co-host on Sam's on Wrestling, has never seen it. So he's just sat there with his eyes blown. And we watched a 12-minute Christopher Daniels match. And he had his neck beaten up the entire match by Chris Sabin. And yet he still did big moves and still sold his neck injury. Oh my God. And it was 12 minutes long. Huh. Almost like it's simple.
Is 2006 when Angle was in it?
That's what we're actually doing. We are going to be doing the Kurt Angle series. It's going to be coming out in like May because it takes ages to edit a.
Because according to lots of people, that was the best Kurt Angle.
I agree. I think it is.
I have no
Didn't see a
reference. I have
right.
no reference because I didn't see it. I've only seen clips. I've seen this crazy flip he does off the stage, which was insane. But
So literally, most TNA pay-per-views are on YouTube for free. Literally, if you know the name, put it in. They're actually free. So we're literally doing the whole of Kurt Angle's first year, which I said will come out in May. Will be our first one, and we're literally like, oh, I don't need to go find them. I literally just type them into YouTube, and they're all there. And honestly, if you want to waste 2 hours 40 minutes, that's how long they are. Great fun. Some of the pay-per-views, but the point I was more making about Ricochet is I'm not a flip person. Flips bug me because I think they pop a crowd, not the audience. because this is the problem with AEW in particular. They hear the noise because it's amazing to see something live, do something crazy, crazy. But when you're watching it at home, you're desensitized to it because you see it all the time. Particularly if you take something like a suicide dive, everyone's doing them now.
Yeah.
They're all doing them.
Not special.
Why should I pop? Especially when you see like Samoa Joe could do one and he's 270 pounds. When you watch into it, what's the thing? So for me, the whole point, if you ever watch Ray and Eddie from like 97, they're doing their
The
quick
Halloween
move
Havoc match.
as an example, but others, they do their quick moves to gain an advantage. Because I can't do this, I can't do that, or this person's got more power, or if I do this move, then I can get on top of them. They're all for a reason.
It's a sequence.
But the thing is
Yeah.
the problem is AEW have got a lot of people who do that. WWE at the time had Ricochet. Didn't really have as many people who did that kind of stuff. Cedric Alexander a little bit, but not to the level that Ricochet could do. But also, I thought he was an amazing seller. One of my favorite eliminations from the Rumble was when Drew McIntyre lobbed him out the one Rumble, the one where he won, one where Drew won the Rumble, and he literally just holds him like this and just launches him almost into the first row.
Yeah,
and
he is a good seller. Yeah.
Do you know what? Again, me and you might have a different definition of selling. Being able to take a move amazingly is great, but that doesn't sell the move. The sell the move is that what happens afterwards. So for
Who's teared
example,
outside the ring.
yeah, like if you ever watch Dolph, everyone went, "Oh, Dolph, he's an amazing seller." I went, "No, because he's up in 2 seconds, ready to do his next spot." There's a reason.
Unless he's getting speared by Goldberg.
So he could, yeah, it's the impact versus the aftermath. Yeah, definitely, there's a
If you
difference.
do the amazing sell, think about RVD, but when RVD got hit, he would then be grabbing his head or grabbing a thing, and he looked like he was in pain. That's the key to selling. So you might be able to do the move amazingly, but if you then just go "Whoop," and just get straight back up, or not feel the effects or anything, Osprey, then it just doesn't have that same appeal.
When I see AEW people do multiple Canadian destroyers, it drives me mad. I love how much WWE is selling, how devastating the package power drive.
Oh yeah, and he did it a couple of weeks in a row, but he's not doing it now every week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and it's a case of you know, and again, if you do one a match, but if you're doing 2, 3 in a row, sometimes they were doing it back and forth. It's just like,
Oh, I've seen them do a sequence where it was four. Where it was four,
they just onto each other and it's just like, well, that is just flipping. That isn't performing a move. It's totally different.
It's the art.
I really like gymnastics.
It's the art of protecting a move. You go and look at someone like, I'm going to give you an example, Jake Roberts. We're going to go all the way back in time. Yes, I can do it. All these you guys, I can do it.
I was just listening to his interview with The Undertaker. Really, really good, really interesting interview.
I still think, arguably, top 3 talkers of all time, and I will not be swayed.
Undertaker says he's the best heel of all time.
I wouldn't go that far, but in terms of what he did in the 80s, everyone is yelling at me. Stop yelling at me in a promo, but he's there going, "Let me talk to you." And the camera had
he literally talks about that. He says he can't. He's got a screwed up throat, so he can't shout.
But he used to would raise his arm, just a signal was for the DDT, because the crowd knew if he did hit it, it was the end.
It's done.
And we don't do that anymore. So when you're talking about, they're not selling these Canadian shows, because that used to be a finisher. And I don't mind things not being finishers anymore. The DDT is an example of that. But if you protect moves and then build to that move, it means something. And we've lost that. And I think AEW really are not helping themselves by the fact that they kick out of everything. But AEW out of everything. And I think...
And then get done by a roll-up.
I think
The most devastating move in all of sports entertainment.
Yeah, Tony Storm one, there was kind of a narrative to that because she was winning matches with Dan leading up to it. So it kind of made sense. But anyway, going back to Naomi.
Sorry, can I make just because I know you went up, sidetracked. I've come all the way back round, and I'm happy with Chelsea and Lyra losing. I've come all the way back round.
Oh, interesting.
And I'll explain why. Because if you look at all the qualifiers from the men's and the women's, you would argue they are the best people who could go into it. You know, sometimes they have a qualifier match, and it'd be like, the Undertaker's going to take on R-Truth. And you're like, oh, all right, whatever. R-Truth is not going to get in. He's not a main eventer.
Yeah, I guess.
The 12 women they've picked, you would argue, are the best 12 women. It just sucks that your champions are going to look weak by losing. But you are saying Chelsea Green should be going for a world title and stuff like that. So I kind of come back round. I hate that they lose. I do hate that, but I'm used to mid-card titles losing for the last
But
50 years.
the problem I have with it is Lyra Valkyria is her first match since winning the title, and it's Chelsea's like second match since winning the title, and she got pinned in a tag match recently as well.
If that's the issue, it's actually the booking going into it. I actually don't mind them losing that match. It's the booking going in's the problem. Like Lyra in particular, I don't understand why they aren't just putting her on telly every single week having a match.
Yeah.
If you're not going to give her a microphone or a character,
She's still not saying anything.
No, again, this week we had a number 1 contendership match. Just came out on the title belt. Why do all that backstage build up and then just give it to Dakota Kai? We just had her versus Dakota Kai. It was the final. What is the point?
I had Dakota winning that match as well. I think I was the only one saying it because I thought they're going to do Dakota versus Io at WrestleMania for the IC title. But now I'm not sure they're going to even have the IC title at WrestleMania now.
Oh, who knows?
I don't know how it's going
to
get there.
It's so bizarre.
It's almost like they did it because the fans have been screaming for it and then didn't know what to do with it.
That's sadly, you've 100% nailed it. It was an element of, we want a mid-card title, anyone. Here you go. We're not going to do anything with it. I prefer a brand split, but at the moment, I don't understand why we need 2 world champions, 2 tag team champions, all this. Like, why can't we just have 1 women's mid-card title? I would scrap the tag titles. There's not enough women to do tag teams anyway, so I would scrap them. What do you think? Have 1 world champion. They could go on Raw and Smackdown. They can stay on Raw for 4 weeks, have their feud whatever they're feuding, and then move over to SmackDown. And then you'd have no choice but to make your IC champion or your US champion really important, because at that point, they might be the main champion. And they could have done it when Roman was the champion, and they didn't. So
Unfortunately, I think that's all down to telly rights.
Now it's the problem. I meant beforehand, but yeah,
but I even think before then. I think when it was split between USA and and Fox, I think that was the issue as well. They wanted a champion on their brand.
Oh, their brand,
as their brand's champion, and I think that's the issue with it is television, which is the bit that keeps F1. I keep doing this. That keeps WWE on our screens.
But if they split the title, but if the thing is, there's the balance then of having long champions, right? Because then otherwise, if you need somebody, because what you could argue is like, well, you could have a mid-card title split between the 2 shows over the year. They both get enough screen time, because then what you're getting is, say for Roman Reigns, for example, then he's appearing on both shows. He's not just on SmackDown, or Cody Rhodes isn't just on Raw. Both shows get the benefit of seeing both of those wrestlers. But it does then play havoc with TV scheduling, the live events, and everything like that. So you do have the split of rosters for that. But like I say, since this draft window, everyone's been everywhere, and it hasn't made a blind bit of difference about these things. But can we talk about who attacked Jade Cargill? Because if it turns out to be Liv Morgan
and Raquel, it's an absolute red herring, and I actually like that they've done it, because that means it's been planned for ages, because obviously that was filmed on the night, unless they've restaged it somehow in the exact same way.
Restaged it, but
yeah, I mean, they don't really do reshoots. It's not Marvel, and and I think it's a red herring.
I mean, it should be a red herring, but to go this long and then to produce this could have been done like a couple of months ago.
I think it's aces and eights. I'm going with aces and eights from TNA. I reckon they're the ones who attacked it, because it makes as much sense as anybody else right now. Good. The problem with this is I've got a weird feeling that because they've been trying to make Dave look like an idiot, which is their favorite thing to do, they put out about 9 different reports. Dave Meltzer. They put about 9 different reports on Jade Cargill. She's injured. She's not injured. She's at the performance. She's not. I think she's legit injured, and I reckon the reason this has gone this long is because they didn't know what to do or how long she was going to be out for and stuff. Because
maybe now they've got a timeline.
Yeah, so I heard
maybe. So she's actually injured. Okay, so then that makes sense, because maybe they have a timeline now of her return, so they can revamp that storyline and start doing what they need to do to get to that point. So
because they barely mentioned it for the last 2 months by the odd occasion, but then this week it feels like we've properly been talking about it. So they're going, okay, she's either turning up at Elimination Chamber or she's turning up like very soon afterwards to build. If it's not one of Naomi or Bianca, I will be shocked. The one that makes the most sense is Naomi. She took the
does.
tag titles off. She might have been jealous of Bianca and Jade. I got Bianca winning the chamber match anyway. So, because I don't know who else could literally win it. If it's Liv, I'm going to cry. But go on, Alex.
No, I had an idea, and actually, I've just run it through my head before it came up my mouth, which is odd for me because I normally just speak, and actually doesn't work. So no, ignore me. Okay, I was going to say something about Jade costing Bianca, but that actually doesn't work based on what we're talking about. So no, ignore me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost the tag titles before WrestleMania, because if one of them does win, say it's Naomi or Bianca, they have to lose the titles before they go into WrestleMania. I don't think you can have them as tag champs going into WrestleMania, being a tag champ and going for the world championship. It doesn't make sense. But
I'm fed up with Bianca being wasted, just sat there as a as a tag team champion. She is absolutely wasted because she is a main eventer on any show against anybody else. She is a top tier main eventer. So can we get that back in the main event, please?
I don't mind what they've done with Bianca, weirdly, because if they weren't going to have her going for the title, they kept her on telly every single week.
yeah, she's been very much in the limelight.
So they've still kept her, and they've used her to kind of help Jade along. You know, apparently they don't get on, says the coach, because he's best friends with them. But Jonathan Coachman knows nothing.
By the way, I love how much WWE is spouting shit into media. I absolutely love it because it just ruined all of Dave Meltzer's insider knowledge. PW not an insider.
But so I don't mind what they've done with Bianca, but I think most of us are now ready for her to be back in the main event.
Yeah.
Mainly because we've had the same people. You know, Rhea and Liv, it's getting a bit tiresome. Naya's had it for a while, and we've only just got someone new with Tiff, and then Charlotte comes back, and you're like, can we do someone new or at least go back to somebody? So they either need to build someone new, which I hope they do with Roxanne. I mean, let's go left field, have Roxanne win the chamber. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Let's go with her, Io, and Rhea. Hey, even throw Bailey in. Let's do 4-way. Let's just have more together and go hell for leather because you got the stories there. Why not? Let's just do it.
The Roxanne Perez Rhea Ripley WrestleMania match is interesting because it's a bit like the Charlotte Rhea match where it's this young upcoming future star will lose to the champion, but it shows the promise.
Which Rhea and Charlotte are we talking about? Because Charlotte beat her twice beforehand before we got to WrestleMania 39. Which one are we talking about?
You take your pick, Sam. You're the big fan.
She beat her twice.
Right, Solo Sikoa. Where does his narrative go now? Is it Solo versus Jacob? Is that where we're headed?
Yeah, there's nothing else. That's it. It's 100%. But the question is, who babyface? You can't have Solo as babyface. He isn't a babyface, and you cannot turn Jacob. He has to be heel. The character is a heel, even though the crowd love him. It's almost like they're going to go, do you know what? You're going to cheer Jacob anyway. Let's do heel versus heel. You're going to cheer him anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I have no interest in seeing Jacob versus Solo.
That's why they're doing it.
They don't need to have a feud and fall out. They need to go back after Roman, but Roman's dead, so
yeah, that's kind of the thing. I suppose one will know more after the chamber, because after the chamber, Roman will come back. I saw someone's theory today online. They said, what if it's the last two and it's CM Punk versus Seth, and then Punk calls in his favor to Heyman and Roman comes down and costs Seth the match so CM Punk wins? And I was like, if you replace him with Brock Lesnar, I'd like it. But Roman's not doing a favor for CM Punk.
it doesn't move fast enough. Yeah, it doesn't move fast enough to go save somebody. He has to do his whole and safety news.
When the third person comes out and they've got a 4-minute timer, go, right, that's how long his entrance lasts. Cool.
Yeah. And see, what I love is they are milking it now. I feel like they're milking it on purpose now. It's an absolute troll, and I love it.
It is. It is. It's actually funny. I saw an interview with Triple H, and he mentioned about like Cody. He'll be there for every interview. He'll do this. He'll do that. You'll ask Roman, he'll be like, "It's not worth my time." And he said that is the difference between the two. And Roman dictates what Roman does, and it's like, fair enough. He's working this part-time program. Fair play to you. I mean, even I suppose at the beginning of his reign, he was there a lot more frequent. It dropped off the last couple of years. But I also made the argument, same with Brock Lesnar, sometimes you need that from your stars. You need them to go and come back so you appreciate them more. They are box office. They are PLE. You don't need them there every week. And I think maybe that we've suffered a little bit with Cody with that because he's literally there every week, both shows. So you're constantly seeing him and you don't have enough time to miss him. I mean, it's great for the live audiences because if you go, you want to see the champ. So you understand that. But I'd rather him do more dark appearances for the crowd than necessarily being on TV every week. But that's
I
just
think that's an excellent point. Making dark appearances. Nailed it. Absolutely. That's spot on. I couldn't agree more. And also, if you have people don't go away, like literally, what was it? The Raw with Logan Paul, it was the most starless Raw ever because no one had a match who was a star. Like literally, Logan Paul's the biggest star had a match. Seth wasn't there. Punk wasn't there. Cena, Roman, all these people. So you get to push other people. Other people can get some limelight, and that's the whole point of your TV.
Yeah, exactly that. Good news for fans around Europe and the UK, where John Cena is going to be part of the tour. So he is going to be in London for the Raw before Mania on the 31st, I think it is. So yeah, if you got tickets to that, you will be seeing John Cena. I think he's also doing, is it Scotland or Bristol and one other? He's doing a couple.
They're the same.
John Cena in Bristol just doesn't sound right, does it?
I got my hustle, I loyalty, and my respects going on there.
I can see him.
You can't see me all there.
Let's talk about Penta and Pete Dunne. Decent match again. Ludwig Kaiser getting involved. Surely it's just going to lead to a triple threat. Do we see maybe a triple threat on the card for Elimination Chamber? Could that be another match, or is this something down the road?
I'm getting really worried we've got the card. I'm getting really worried that a 4-match card is the card, unless they add Cody versus Solo. That's the only one that might get.
Well, yeah, it might be just a 4 matchup because we got 2 matches this week. Let's come on to those before we talk about the other things. So one match which was agreed but not sanctioned is Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, unsanctioned match.
I was screaming that at the telly when unsanctioned. I don't know what it could be, but if it's unsanctioned, does it need to be in an empty arena and all that kind of shit? It can't actually be on the card.
No, unsanctioned means that WWE completely washed their hands. We have no legal thing. We will provide you everything, but we told you not to do it. It is your own responsibility. Even though we provided you with a ring or a camera.
Yeah, we'll provide you the ladders, the bins, the tables, the chairs. We'll provide you everything. But yeah, you just can't sue us. It's like, if he dies, he dies.
He dies.
That's it.
Sammy's going to die.
Yeah. I watched some clips of one of their other previous unsanctioned matches, and it was brutal. It was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
You have feuded too often if you've already had an unsanctioned match already.
You're not really friends.
Yeah, I think this was before WWE, but yeah, I mean, like they say, these two are it's like Batman and the Joker. They're like destined to do this forever, and it's yeah, it's going to be a good match. I think they will tear down the house in Canada. I think the crowd might end up cheering Kevin Owens on the night.
Why wouldn't they? Sammy's a bad friend.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
He's a bad friend. Yeah, exactly. We've said this.
I love the promo. Like I said, Kevin Owens' promos are just so. The way that he presents it is just so matter of fact. He doesn't have to get angry with it. He doesn't have to get aggressive. I love the car promos. I was watching when I was watching. Was it on SmackDown? He did it, I think. Yeah, SmackDown. He did it. I was watching it, and the wife was just like, "Why is he sitting in his car?" I was like, "It's a cool promo, and I love his hoodie." But I was just like, he's just telling the truth.
Oh my god, the Hitman hoodie. It's so good.
Love it. And yeah, but it is all truth. And Sammy, And I like the way that Sammy tried to justify. He's like, I came out like after when I thought you were dead. I was concerned. It's like, no. You just stood there watching Alabama slam you through a ladder.
Him try to kill me and then
Yeah.
feel bad about it afterwards.
Yeah, and then Roman Reigns. Oh, you're in the corner getting boots. Let me pick you up. But yeah, so I think
What this is, I got Sammy in a black veil, a single tear down his eye, one rose, and he just throws onto Kevin's butt. So I go and talk about. It's like, did you? I don't know what you wanted him to do, Kev. To be honest, did you want him to cheat for you, or are you just admitting you're rubbish? Because you essentially go, "Help me win. I can't."
At least distract Cody from trying to kill him.
do something. Anyway, so
finger
what do we think? Do we get Kevin Owens losing again before potentially his match of WrestleMania? We're thinking probably with Randy Orton if he's fit, or does he actually get the upswing? He actually gets over Sami Zayn on the upwards for Randy Orton potentially coming back. Does Randy Orton come back at Elimination Chamber?
I think while Kevin is killing Sammy after he's killed him in the match, then Randy comes to save him.
You're just allowing for shenanigans, allowing for someone to come down and cost him, for him to complain even more. He's a heel. He's not allowed to win. That's the rules. Heels, unless your last name is Flair, you're not allowed to win. Sammy will win so he can go in strong against his match with Karrion Kross.
Just in case the audience doesn't know, Sam has a massive issue with Charlotte Flair.
See an issue. You just made the list. I think that. Yeah, I think Sam's right. I think that. I would expect a Randy Orton return because now's the right time on the build up to WrestleMania. You don't want to leave it too long if he's fit and well, which hopefully he is. And I think it will be then the reason that Kevin Owens turns his attention to Randy Orton, and they can have a great build up, over the next few weeks, and it absolutely makes sense. Sammy, I don't know how I feel about Sammy because he's a good performer, and I don't think he was the one that should have dethroned Gunther, but it happened. He's been in the world title picture, but I don't see him as a world champion. But I feel that WWE are going to put it on him one day. I don't know.
They feel
What are
like,
your thoughts
it's
on
him,
Sammy?
like
Where does he go?
Kobe and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just
What?
I don't know.
We had this chat. Our video that came out this week was, should Jey Uso have won the Royal Rumble? Because Baby Sam is completely against it. I am for it. And we talked about Sammy, and we talked about the idea that if Roman's match with Sami Zayn hadn't had happened the month before WrestleMania, I'm pretty certain they would have gone for Sammy to take the title off Roman. I really do. Because Cody was a whole year later. I really do believe that. So when it comes to someone like a Zayn winning a world title, he reminds me too much of a Rey Mysterio. It's you deserve a world title, don't enjoy it, because we will move you to another heel very quickly. If they ever need to go from Gunther and they want to put it on Braun or Drew or someone like that really quickly, you can slot a Sammy in there, he can lose, and he can have his world title. But I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think Sammy will ever win the world title. I don't think it's going to happen, sadly.
Okay.
I'd like it to, but I don't see it.
I can see them putting him
agree.
on him in a outing show. I could see that happening.
Or let win it and then get cashed in on.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Don't cap in on Charlotte Flair. She'll win it back a month later.
Yeah, actually,
It's a waste.
Sammy could win a Money in the Bank
He could.
and win the title that way.
He could, but I just for someone who's been in the business that long, I wouldn't want to see him with it.
No, maybe.
He gets his title shots without it. Do you know what I mean? So I just don't feel it's that necessary. But there's that narrative where again he keeps having title shots and for the main title and coming up short. So
I like the idea of him winning it and then losing to Drew and losing to Drew again.
Yeah.
I hope they never let him beat Drew McIntyre. That is a strange way to go forever.
Like Tommy Dreamer and Raven, just never have him win. Star Wars does well. But no, I'm the same as you. Like, this is the one thing that Triple H does is he remembers things. So I will say that he does keep an eye on that stuff. So, and he does play it back, which is really good because we actually saw it with Sami Zayn doing when they did the court scene, that sort of thing. 'Cause they went back and talked about everything from 2023, and he went, "That's really good. You actually showed everything, and you showed a long narrative." So I do see Triple H doing that, but the problem is Triple H wants all his world champions to have the title for 400,296 days and a cup of coffee. So I don't see how anyone actually comes in unless, in his mind, they are the main event. Particularly the WWE Championship. He might win the world title, maybe, but that WWE Championship is going to go between 3 people over the next 10 years, probably.
Yeah, probably that.
We're
talking about
down
the-
through the bloodline.
Yeah, exactly. Just pass it on generation to generation. WWE's Women's Championship match on SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax in complete control. Dominated the match. Oh, she looked really, really good. Really strong. Then Tiffy had 2 minutes of comeback. She was about to hit the Prius moonsault. Candice LeRae completely takes her out. And Nia Jax seemed fine about it, which was quite a surprise. She was just like laughing. It's like, oh yeah, thank you.
Well, she was about to lose.
And it's,
I thought they told a brilliant story, though. I really enjoyed that match. I thought it was
no, it was a good match. And obviously then the beatdown was happening after the match. Trish Stratus comes in to make a save. She gets beat down as well. And then we find out later that Trish spoken to Nick, and we've got a tag team match at Elimination Chamber. Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Not a match I saw coming. Didn't predict it. But I suppose it's a way of getting your champion on a card before WrestleMania, but not having a wasted match where you know they're going to win and nothing's going to happen. So it kind of works. Trish in a homebound.
Trish.
Yeah, exactly. So I haven't really got any issues with that. I'm just one, but again, I spoke about this last. Nia Jax always being in that title picture at the moment, and it to me,
Got no issue with it. She's the biggest threat on the women's roster.
Yeah.
But don't really have an issue with it.
I tell you what, but this
and she's doing brilliantly.
Cheers.
I've got a few points on this match in general, because literally just before this match, Nia was voted by the Wrestling Observer Awards as the most overrated performer of the year, which just shows you how they vote. Yeah. Oh, Triple H won Booker of the Year, but never won Best Show or Best Pay-Per-View. So, it's all here. All makes sense. But yeah, Nia won most overrated and then put
I
on
don't
that
read the dirt sheets.
Yeah, exactly. I don't either. And then she puts on that performance. I think Nia, bar one match, she's had one bad match, which was the War Games, where she really had a stinker. She's been brilliant. I think she's been fantastic.
Absolutely.
She looks slimmed down. She looks like she's got new moves. She looks like she knows how to. When she was in the WWE before, she could only do one match. And she very much did that match on repeat. And everyone just kind of copied her. And she got good at that one match. But that's all she could do. Now, she can play a variety of matches.
Haynes Supper match, yeah.
Definitely stories playing there. And I thought this match so far, I'm going to throw it out there, that I thought was the best match so far of 2024, not on a pay-per-view so far. Jen, I thought we played it on the Raw's net.
She's been brilliant, considering how skeptical everyone was when she came back, because she left, she kept hurting people. Don't hear any of that anymore. And she's controlled herself. Bearing in mind her big finisher is sitting on somebody from the second rope, real possibility to hurt people with that, and she still sits on their chest and doesn't actually hurt them. So
yeah,
she has to do the move because it has one of the best names in wrestling. Nia Late Her. Love it. Pun.
Why have I never picked that up before?
You got.
Why have I never picked that up before?
You haven't. That hasn't come to you, Alex. Oh my.
Oh
No.
Delicious. But the problem I actually have after this was I am really struggling to see Tiff as a babyface.
She's still trying to be a babyface.
But she's playing the babyface, and she beat Trish. She was like, "Time, yay!"
Oh, yeah.
It's just she's smiling. Smiling means babyface. That's the build. But she can't. I don't think she can do it. The crowd love her because she's so entertaining. But she just only can be a heel. Charlotte Flair's the exact same. She could only be a heel. It doesn't work. And some people can't play a heel. Rey Mysterio will never be able to play a heel. I used to put Kofi in that list, and then I've been proven relatively wrong. But Tiffy, when she had that thing with Trish, I just looked at her and went, "This sounds awful. Terrible."
Yeah, and I put it in a chat. I was like, I'm kind of bored of Tiff, and that is because she can't do the baby face. And you're exactly right. If she was heel, then great. But she's just not coming across great on the mic at the moment. She just seems a little bit like deer in headlights sometimes. She's just standing across from the ring and the mic skills just aren't there for that kind of promo. And you know, when she was face to face with Charlotte, she just trounced her.
Destroyed her. She is a figment of her own.
Charlotte's awesome, Sam.
Charlotte is awesome. I don't hate Charlotte Flair. I hate Charlotte Flair, the booking. Let's remember, he is still, I said last week, and I'll say it again, I still think she's the greatest women's wrestler, at least in ring, probably ever, I have to admit, or at least in America.
I don't think it's difficult. I don't even think it's close.
No,
Yeah.
neither do I. But at least from an American standpoint, because obviously there's amazing Joshies and Japanese wrestlers. I don't watch them, so I wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
but in America, she's number one comfortably. It's just the way they booked her is just awful. But that's the thing, that Tiff was so popular. They were like, "Well, we've got to tell you babyface. Got to tell you face." Like, no, what you said earlier. Ride it. Keep her heel. You know. But who would you have a face? Not sure. And she's going to have to turn heel very quickly after WrestleMania. I can't see her sticking to
Have
it.
a turn on Tiff. They lose, and Tiff loses the match. She turns on Tiff, and then they have a program.
Tiff turns on Tiff.
Tiff turns on Trish. There's too many. There's too many T's in this.
I thought you were talking about that. It's mainly plastic that you can make a new Tiff out of like old Tiff.
So Trish will get pinned. Tiff will blame Trish, beat up Trish, and then Trish and Tiff will have a program. Does that work? There we go. Right.
It'd have to happen after Mania, so she'd have to do the baby drum with Charlotte and
I,
stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if actually Trish lost, because maybe that's the narrative, to have Tiffany lose or not be successful leading into WrestleMania, because then Charlotte sees her as the easy target and thinks this is going to be a fairly easy win, which is why I think she came out and chose her for WrestleMania, because she got beat down. She's down on the floor. She's like, yeah, I'm going to choose you. Rhea's a much tougher opponent. So she's picking Tiff because she sees her as an easy spot. So if you keep having her
belt back,
beat down, and then it's going to be, she puts on the match of her career to keep that championship away from Charlotte at WrestleMania. So that's kind of how I see it playing out. I wouldn't be surprised if she lost.
I just really enjoy Charlotte becoming a Pokemon master in the middle of the ring. You know, I choose Tiffany Stratton. So.
Right, what else have we got? So Sami Zayn we spoke about. Let's talk about Gunther and his Jey Uso entrance. I loved this. I thought this was so good. He just wanted to, let's see what it's all about. And he's just like, credit to you. I don't know how you stand up here with these people and the smell and stuff like that. Gunther is just so good. He is so good.
Stole from Zack Sabre Jr. halfway through, I'll point out. He did steal Zack's insult of teaching Shakespeare to a dog.
Yes, he did.
I was like, do it yourself, Gunther. But I love watching my personality. It was great. This Jey Uso is going to help him. It will. It's what I said last week. It will help him. It will make him more personable. It will give him more depth than just, I'm better than you, I will kill you. This feud will work for both of them. I don't know what will happen afterwards for both of them being good or positive, but going into Mania, it will work for both of them. It really will.
Alex, any more thoughts on that?
No, I just loved it. I thought it was great. The way he put it in, he even yeeted. I loved it, which was hilarious watching that man yeet. And and then he threatened Pat McAfee, and then when Jay turned up, he's still standing on the table yeeting, and he cut the microphone at him.
Yeah, it was a really good segment.
Should he have yeeted in Austrian? Is there an Austrian word for yeet?
Yeet, yeah.
You don't know.
We're on YouTube. Let's not go any further with this conversation.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to tell. Yeah. AJ Styles, it was great to see him back in action. He defeated Dominic Mysterio, and then Bron Breakker comes out afterwards to try and destroy him. Ends up hitting Dom with a spear, and then we had one of the smoothest catches of AJ grabbing his t-shirt as he threw it into the ring.
It's WWE's social media wet dream, that catch.
Yeah, it's that Roman catching the mic off Brock Lesnar.
That's the best thing that's ever happened in wrestling, that catch from Roman.
And
honestly.
It was the wink as well, though, really.
And Brock trying not to laugh.
yeah, exactly. So is this a WrestleMania match? Is it AJ versus Bron Breakker at WrestleMania for Intercontinental Championship?
I'll take it.
I think it's happening on Raw.
Oh, yeah, okay. Could happen.
I think it's happening on Raw. There's somewhere there's going to be an 1,000-person ladder match for the IC or the US title. And I don't know which one it's going to be because there literally is the correct amount of people on both to do it. You want Bron Breakker to have a one-on-one match, you would feel.
Yeah.
And AJ would be great. But I think they've already started it too early. This looks just Raw to me. Like they'll do it in like 3 weeks or something random. Because remember, the amount of Raw title matches they have now, like
Yes.
you could, this is setting up, and then it's like, Nia and Tiff. Why that
Yeah,
really
on
should have been on Elimination Chamber, really. I know you want to get Trish in, but that's where the match should have happened. I can see, I don't know how they're going to get there, but I still see AJ Styles and Finn. I still see that as the way they're going to go.
Yeah, apparently that's a rumor that match is happening. There's a rumors. What I would love to see, and I don't know whether WWE would pull the trigger on this, is they've got this relationship with TNA now. Because obviously we've got the Hardys are going to be on NXT next week. They're going to be having a tag match on NXT, which is amazing. What if they had the TNA champion versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania? And AJ Styles.
TNA. Oh, hang on. Who's the TNA champion? Is the TNA champion is Joe Hendry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hang on. So who was the guy that was on NXT eyeing up Oba Moose?
TNA
championship
X
as well.
champion. It's like the North American championship, basically. It's their version, yeah. So what if they had the TNA World Championship at WrestleMania, Joe Henry versus AJ Styles, and AJ Styles wins that being an ex-TNA person?
We've already got 37 titles that need to be put on WrestleMania. Let's not throw the TNA one. Put it on the SmackDown before.
How awesome would Joe Hendry be at WrestleMania? I mean, a stadium.
That's what I was saying. That would be stadium
hanging out Joe Hendry's music would just be amazing. Because surely I don't know how old he is, but surely he is destined for WWE.
I watched him at WCPW show 10 years ago. That's how long.
I just love that he's a normal sized guy and does a choke slam. And runs around, goes around the ring.
It gives us hope for all of us that we could one day do a last ride powerbomb. You know?
Yes, absolutely. LA Knight and The Miz. I thought this was a great promo. I mean, the Miz crying went on a little bit too long, but other than that, I thought it was a really good promo between these two. I really enjoyed it. It obviously led to a match, #1 contendership, to face Shinsuke. Again, that's probably going to be on a SmackDown, but let's get the title off Shinsuke because this is going to be one of the worst title runs in recent memory. He's not doing anything. He's not saying anything. It's just really, he's just giving a look behind the mask and it's bad. It's so bad.
It's really hard to have a champion who doesn't really speak very good English.
Give him a manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they don't exist anymore. The managers aren't. You take away Paul Heyman, your managers don't get it. I don't get it.
I miss intimidating stars like Shinsuke having a mouthpiece who could make them more intimidating.
Could you imagine him with Bobby Heenan, for example?
Amazing.
It's inch perfect because you can do comedy and you can do serious stuff with that one manager, and it would work really, really well. I don't get why they don't do it. I enjoyed him speaking Japanese and then doing subtitles. I really enjoyed that. I thought that worked as a gimmick, but you can't really do it live.
I was doing a loud crowd.
And that's your issue. Not only is he struggling to speak English, which is fair, whatever, second language and all that jazz. He also isn't saying it well when he does talk. So that has nothing to do with language. That's presentation. And I thought I thought the way he spoke on SmackDown, even if it was for 90 seconds, was just kind of awkward and weird. If he'd just come out and just gone, no one is worthy of challenging me and I've been searching. That's it. It felt like they gave him too much to say and he didn't know how to present it.
Yeah, less is more.
I felt a bit sorry for him, to be honest, actually. It's not his job.
So is it right to put the title back on LA Knight?
Probably, but if Jimmy's not winning this title, I would be blown away if Jimmy's not going to leave WrestleMania as United States champion and then they do the whole WrestleMania 20 hug spot with Jay both winning singles gold, because that's all I've got in my head. But I can't quite get to there outside of
So I can't place Larry there, and Jimmy is very much being treated like the second-class citizen compared to his
But you've got
main event brother, and we haven't seen Jim in enough singles matches to warrant him winning that kind of title.
doesn't matter anymore.
But I don't think but I don't think if he then went to Mania to win it, that the fanfare would be there for it.
You can easily book it and push that, because I think he's been getting a lot of responses in the last couple of weeks. I think people have been really on board with him. I think his promo work's been brilliant, actually. I've actually really
He's better on Mike than Jay is.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mike-
without a shadow of a doubt.
I spoke actually about this on the Should Jay won the Royal Rumble. Jay can talk. He's been given yeet scripts, and he's stuck on this yeet, and is like, go and watch what Daniel Bryan was doing when he was doing the yes chants. He would do the yes response with the crowd and the no response, but then he would cut a promo. And it seems like Jay has got lost in the forgetting to do the promo bit, and he's just doing the yeet spot. But if you look
I
at
think
the
he's
people,
overwhelmed by the response he gets.
no, I think he doesn't know what to do now. I think so. I don't think it's overwhelmed. I think it's like, well, this is working, but I'll need to cut this promo. So I think he's actually a bit more confused rather than lost. It's like, well, this is getting response. You go with the response, but eventually people will stop responding to it.
I mean, they encore his intro. I mean, that I've never seen before.
That's a melee.
That is absolute hardcore proof that you're over as hell.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the problem is
he's be able to capitalize on it.
and then he's gassed and he can't do his promo. I think that's half the problem, because then his promos are about me, and I got to yeet, and that's it, and that's his promos, because he's totally...
Are you telling me he's Ultimate Warrior in these promos?
He should do what The Rock does and write it on his wrist.
With the US title, there are 6 really obvious people to do a ladder match with. So you've got Nakamura, could even hold the title till Mania. You've got LA Knight, you've got Andrade and Mello, with The Miz is now involved, and then you got Jimmy. You have the 6 most obvious people. So unless they decide to go left field and have like a Solo win it or something like that, and suddenly you're going to do Solo versus Jimmy at WrestleMania for the United States Championship or something like that, I think the ladder match is going to be there. I'd be amazed if there isn't. And those 6 people are all interlinking already, bar Jimmy. He's the only one who hasn't.
Yeah,
We did
good shout.
did have the chat with LA Knight, I suppose, last week.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, talking about Carmelo Hayes, he's on a winning streak, 2-2, as he picked up a win against R-Truth. I did love the segment which led to the match. You know, Carmelo is like, I'm him. It's like, no, dog, you're Carmelo. And it's like, your mom is your Carmelo. No, I'm him. No, you're Carmelo. And R-Truth, we don't deserve you. You're too good. But yeah, he picked up a loss. And so, but you know, again, not the greatest of catalogs in terms of winning. He's beaten R-Truth and Tozawa the week before, but wins are wins, and he's on his way up. And that's what he needs, because if to go into a US title match, like say for Mania, he'd be like, I've won my last 5 matches. It doesn't matter who they're against. It's the fact that he can boast that. And I think now just continue that directory and just keep having those wins each week.
WWE don't have many jobbers anymore, though. They're like, they've got no jobbers, tag, no mid-card, main eventers. So like, there's no one to like, there's no Scotty Too Hottie and Funaki and Spike.
No, that's why they had to get Tozawa from Raw for come to beat.
But it's like they don't even bring in like local talent anymore for people to eat. It's like
No.
I would have loved to have seen Bron Breakker just eating local talent every week.
I thought that's what they were going to do, to be honest, and then they just jumped
Yeah.
straight into it.
Yeah, that's
Maybe they'll bring Otis next week or something for Carmelo, and it's like, you hurt my friend, so now you have to face me. He's probably the only other jobber I can think of that would take it. It wouldn't mean anything for a loss.
Yeah, but I can't think. The problem is Carmelo's in that difficult position where he's not got top line status.
Yeah,
he is a mid carder without a mid card to fight. He'd be brilliant actually for an IC
great
title.
champion.
But he'd be great for an IC title run if he had a packed out mid card. But we don't, and you have a potential main eventer holding the IC title hostage.
Yeah, Bron is a mid carder because he's on the way up. So at least there's that, but he's on the way up, so you know he's going to abandon.
But you could have put him in the chamber match, and I wouldn't be mad if he went to Mania.
That's my point. When you got someone on the ascent, Jacob Fatu is another one. You almost bypass that title a little bit because of who he is, the star power and stuff like that, and the size and all that jazz. But then you look at the United States and you go, that's Nakamura. He is very, very mid card, but he's a heel. So for me, I think Mello is the person you build the United States like division around. He's the perfect person for it because he can put on a great match with pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
I like his gimmick. I like his personality. I love his entrance. Right now, I look at him and go, you should be somebody really pushed to the moon.
Yeah.
At least for the United States. At the very least.
We're missing a couple of people. So we're missing obviously Bronson Reed. He'd be filling out that mid card really well and some really big matches. Is it Dragunov? He's injured as well. So, he's whether he might make a Mania appearance. So there are some definitely mid card people there that can elevate. But now that I think Raw's looking quite good with Penta, obviously Dunn they promoted quite a bit. Ludwig Kaiser, he's coming on leaps and bounds. So that mid card is building. Sheamus is still there. We keep talking about Intercontinental title. Should it not be Sheamus winning it at WrestleMania? Should that not be his moment? Is it a triple threat fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental then? And that's how he gets it. And then you protect prerogatives in go Rhea.
And then you also is the likes of Aleister Black coming back. Because there's lots of talk about Aleister Black coming.
Chad Gable. How's Chad Gable not in the US title picture? He'd have to be part of that ladder match if he was there. So,
I told you.
Keep getting confused.
Where's the bloody Wyatt 6 gone?
Bo's injured.
I was injured, so
Bo did his shoulder in. But they flashed that on the screen with Alexa Bliss, didn't they?
They did.
I don't want. I know that it's the easiest thing for them to do. I don't want Alexa with the Wyatt 6. I like the nod to it, but she's held on to the doll for too long. So yeah.
Still sells though. That doll is merch money machine, unbelievably.
It is.
Do you think they're going to do like a Wyatt 6 thing with her in the chamber then? Because you don't really want her to eat a pin. Could you have like spooky Nikki Cross? It just in a pod, just like, and I've appeared. Hello.
Yeah, interesting. What else did we have? We have motion.
Talking about magic. I watched a clip from the COVID era stuff when they had Alexa change her clothes in the middle of the ring, and it was a case of shit. It's stuff we can do now that we're not filming live. And I was like, oh my god, she's like completely changing the ring. It's like that was cool stuff. That was when they could make literal magic on turnies.
That stuff.
Yeah, I was
getting this enjoyed about the COVID era was
that big face of the fireballs and.
Should we do a Money in the Bank match? No. Let's have them climb a building. Let's do
One of that matches ever.
I'd love that. Is because it reminded me of that. I think was it a WrestleMania commercial where they're having a fight throughout the WWE building. I think that's one of their promos once, something like that. It's just say, yeah, I want people being thrown through walls and in offices and stuff like that. Bring it, absolutely bring it. Right, Motor City Machine Guns. They defeated Los Garza. That happened.
That's what they do.
Detroit looks like a hand, and they point to Michigan, which is down here. And they
Michigan failed one of these. We can't do that. Our spines are so messed up we can't split our fingers, so we'll just point to our hand.
Do you remember when Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were tag team? They used to put their hands like kind of together.
Yeah,
like that was their entrance. But then Indy got released, but Candice carried on doing it. Like she was like for a high five. That's what I think they're going. High five me. So see what they.
But then it's but they're old men, so they're not cool. So they've got to think about it, and they're still trying to do high fives when they do fist bumps these days.
40-year-old men.
No, they're like 42 and 43, and they look awesome, and they're pricks, and I hate them.
Hides up.
Street Profits, really good promos by the Street Profits. Major intensity. And I'm looking forward then to come back on our screens.
They're
Sam, what do you think
intense,
of the
but
promo?
are they still heels or are they heels or are they face? It could go either way.
They'll let the crowd decide. They'll let the crowd decide. They're going to go in with intensity, and
They did that with Lashley and them, and had to turn them babyface, and we ended up with that awful match against the Final Testament in WrestleMania. He's there. They'll cheer him. Just let them hit people with crutches. Just constant crutches. Have him never recover from his injury and just little cut. Think D'Lo Brown for 2025. Just with
Yeah.
a crutch.
steel plate in my leg. Yeah, but really looking forward to them back in action. And then we had Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods cutting their promo on Raw, which was great heel work. Kofi made a really excellent point over against Rey Mysterio. So I won more championships than him. I've been here longer than him. You cheer him.
I didn't
not me.
realize that.
No, it's not something you think about. But yeah, but then we're battling with the LWO. So I don't know, just
Give them something to do that's actually noteworthy. Their heel work is
I-
amazing. Give them something to do. Them feuding with Ray. So what we building to? Ray and Dragon Lee at WrestleMania for the tag titles. They might
Right.
get tag titles. Is Penta getting involved? Is that how we put Penta in? Is Penta and Ray tagged together? I just look at them and I go, I predicted they'd win the tag titles. And I'm amazed
Yeah.
they haven't done it yet, to be honest. I had them going into Mania as the tag titles. And I don't mind them losing. People don't, I can't believe they lose. I don't mind that because that's fueling the anger. That they've actually got to keep getting angrier and angrier.
And that's what took them to where they are. They were constantly losing.
How I read it is like, we lost. Right, Big E, you're holding us back. You're the problem. It's not us. We're on the same page. Go on the winning streak. Start taking
and
teams
be
out.
the greatest tag team in the world that they have
Exactly.
been for
We
so
told
many
you.
years.
Exactly. We told you we're the greatest tag team. We are the greatest tag team. Yes, they'll cheat to win, but that's fine because they're heels. Get them into the number one position, like you say, get them winning the tag titles, and then have someone beat them at Mania for it, which is the
That's the
crowd
point.
pleaser.
But
It's too
what they've
late.
been what they've been talking about, though, is they're confused that people have turned on them. They're confused that everyone is disrespecting them. So it's almost like in their head, they haven't turned heel, though. So this is back on Ray. Feels like the
truth.
actual heel action. So in my head, they got more hatred to go. They haven't done the heel. In fact, have they had a tag match yet? Have we had a tag team match yet? So, like, we done no heel tag running them. They haven't got a clue. They keep losing.
No, they've had
so they-
singles matches. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, which is the problem because I did that with Chad Gable and I did that with Vinci, and I'm even giving the benefit of the doubt with this booking for WrestleMania in general, which has been very lackadaisical. I keep defending it, and I'm expecting it to improve.
In full, we trust.
What if they actually win the titles at Mania? Why not?
I would be happy for that.
I would love that.
That'd be brilliant. That'd be such a
Problem
heel
is it
move.
has-
Well,
it'd be-
if you're gonna have Jay winning the championship and all the good stuff they're gonna have those heels win the titles at WrestleMania.
If they win at Mania, you have a horrible chance of turning them babyface again.
Oh,
I slap a child with a pancake and they'll be fine.
amazing. I think that's everything that I had written down that happened. Have I missed anything?
We did AJ Dom, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we've covered everything that happened.
Perez and Rodriguez. Did we cover that? Did we actually cover the match?
Not really. We just said that she won
They
in
had
the
one.
Elimination Chamber. Yeah.
To be fair, Raquel looked
the
good
big
in
and
the
little.
match.
Yeah, I thought the big and the little worked well. The way she was, Roxanne was trying to put off those moves. But yeah, but I really love Roxanne, and it'll be really interesting to see what she does in the cage. If I could, I'd have her win because I think, like Sam said, that'd be a brilliant surprise because everybody else has got all their feuds they can carry on. Where Roxanne and Bailey, I know they've got their little bit of beef, but Liv and Raquel, Jade, Naomi. It all depends if Cargill's coming back, whether that is going to be a feud that continues and they build to maybe that as a tag match at WrestleMania. And then or have they got a tag match next week, actually?
I think so.
They've got a match next week.
They're going to have to win the tag titles, and they're taking on Io and Dakota, surely. If you're going to have the tag titles at WrestleMania, that's the only...
Yeah. So why don't they win it next week on Raw? That makes sense, right?
That's what I would...
Say Yeah, take the tags off Belair and Naomi, and
Maybe Jade turned up then. Maybe that's when Jade returns and cost Naomi the tag title, maybe, or something. Maybe.
yeah.
Did we cover Cody and McIntyre at the beginning of SmackDown?
No, we have.
Oh no, we didn't.
So long ago.
It was a really long time ago.
It was so long ago. Yeah, I suppose they're all having their moment with Cody because they're all going to be part of this chamber match, and it's all to say this is a possible match, you know. And it was great. And yeah, anytime Drew talks, I'm listening. So yeah, happy days.
Would you, Because I think probably agree that Cody's probably winning at Mania and keeping the title. Who, regardless who he puts against, is probably winning. Would you then have Drew?
No,
I've got Cody winning. I don't see Cody dropping the title.
It all depends who he's against. If he's against Punk, he loses.
I don't think so. I think Punk loses. I really do.
I feel like part of Punk's contract on coming back is he gets his Mania moment.
I think it's a Mania main event, doesn't necessarily win. I think if they've ever one person who doesn't need to win, Punk knows that. But I don't see Cody losing. But at some point, Cody also Punk's on Raw, so you know your WWE Championship.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when you give him a title, and the Brad would be dick anyway.
But I've got Drew winning at some point. I'd have Drew beat Cody. That'd be the man I would put the title on to beat Drew. That's who
I would give Drew every single title in the company, to be honest. So
about his feet. I'd his chest hair. That's what I would do for him.
Oh, don't get rid of that glorious chest hair. Don't get rid of that glorious chest hair. No.
But so I can make a hair statue of himself.
it's out of tails. Starting to overshare, Sam.
Hey, what I do on a Wednesday, make you happen. Okay?
He's getting far too comfortable with us. Yeah, because the thing is, we'll have to see what happens with the chamber, but Drew deserves better to not be in a main event of WrestleMania, and considering the year he's had, and that's what I struggle with. And this is where we struggle with finding all the pieces. Roman doesn't need to be in the title picture. If he has a match with Seth, I think that could be a one-on-one and just a great match, no problem there. Doesn't need to be a triple threat with anybody else. You could make Cody's match a triple threat with throwing somebody else in there, like Punk, and you know whether it's Cena. But I think it all depends on whether Cena's going to have a championship match at WrestleMania. That's
If
what
it's Cena Cody, I definitely see Cody going over. Because then that's the passing of torch. Maybe that's what they're going to do.
It all depends on if they want to do this stupid triple threat match with Punk, Seth, and Roman. Triple threats for nothing on the line are weird.
No, it's no point.
What is the point? We all hate each other. Like I would.
You can have that, as you said, no DQ. You can have it in something brutal. You can put it in a cell, or you can put it in a.
But Roman doesn't hate Punk enough.
No.
Roman and Punk don't hate each other enough to warrant it to be a triple threat to get his hands.
There's a lot more vitriol between just Seth and Roman, isn't there?
Yeah, the only thing that Punk really has done is obviously he eliminated Roman for the Rumble and cost him that championship match. But I don't know there's enough that you can build a match. Yeah, it's not exactly. I don't think you can build a WrestleMania main event out of that. So if Punk's not going against, you don't want Punk and Drew again because we've had that. So if Punk isn't in the main event, who do you put Punk against? Because he's had his match with Seth. So where does Punk go if it's not against Cody?
Well, if you really wanted to go for it, I don't mind Punk and Seth running it back again. I generally don't mind that. It's just like you've got a loose piece. You've literally got one loose piece you're constantly moving around. And why not just go bugger it and just do Roman versus Fatu? And just go, let's do that match. That match people would care more for than the triple threat match. But
every time they're in the ring together, people.
I mean, I think people want to see Seth and Roman.
I agree.
I want to see Seth and Roman. Oh, okay.
That's my point, because every time I do it, I've got Drew just singing in the corner a sad song on his ukulele, not getting a match at WrestleMania, going, oh, I'm beneath Damian Priest, la 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 la. And I can't see him in anything else at the moment outside of a match with Damian Priest or LA Knight or someone like that. That's it, really. You know, the only way I can see them using Drew in a main event match is to have Drew win the chamber, have Punk cash in his Heyman in the Bank, and there's your triple threat. And then you move Cena to somewhere else. But the only person that Cena could face is Logan pissing Paul. And I don't want that either. But that's the
No, Logan has to factor in at some point as well in this, doesn't he?
that's my point.
Because he's not going to Mania, is he?
We all thought Logan maybe with AJ Styles, and do you know what? There's even people throwing out Logan and versus CM Punk because he eliminated Punk from the Royal Rumble, could eliminate him from Elimination Chamber. So that's the only way I can see them fitting the pieces together is to put Drew in the main event, Punk in the bank, and have Cena and Logan Paul have their match.
I can't go for it. I've got the eye for it.
That's all I've got. If you're going to make everyone piece together, but can we also just on a completely unrelated note? So could someone give Damian Priest a hug?
Yeah, I know. We spoke about it earlier, didn't we? Guy, do you know what we need to do? We need to get together and get a table and a whole bunch of pictures and then push everything together. Because trying to map this out in my head isn't working. And
It's just so.
I want an artboard of all the faces and put them all in the right places. And I bet that is exactly what Triple H is doing. And he's just constantly holding Drew McIntyre's picture, going,
On the other hand, he's holding the Rock, going, "Will you give me an answer? Are you going to be there? I am now booking without you. If you turn up, I am going to be furious. I'm putting you down now. Putting you down, Dwayne. That's all. I feel that this WrestleMania has been ruined because of Dwayne.
Yeah.
God damn
Okay.
Dwayne. We like
So-
The Rock. We hate Dwayne.
Listening to you guys, this will be my final thought for this because I need to go away and marinate this. But it's Punk and Rollins, the last two in the chamber. Roman does come out and causes, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but causes a no contest at the Elimination Chamber.
No.
So then on night one, you have Roman versus Seth versus Punk, and the winner of that goes into the main event of night 2 against Cody.
Shut up, Kenan. Triple H, I know you're watching. Please don't listen to Kenan. That's a terrible idea.
Hell in a Cell 2019.
Exactly what I was just thinking about.
Did you not watch Hell in a Cell 2018? We were very
I was actually more cross about the Braun Strowman one than I was about the Seth Rollins one. Braun Strowman should have won that title, and because he was like, "I'm cashing in on you at this match, in this match. This is my cash in," which is the way I feel like an honorable cash in should be done. And if you're going to do it the honorable way, you should fucking win it.
You just mentioned one of the funniest moments for me because then Brock destroys him with his own briefcase. But they look walk around with a handbag. Like, no, you will not take my purse. No purse for you.
Hassa, we then eventually got the best cash, the best Money in the Bank person ever, which was Brock Lesnar when he had his beatbox. The best thing.
Lesnar was amazing.
That wasn't the best thing. The best thing was when it was like, I need to cash in tonight. And it's like, you've got a year. I've got a year.
And it's full with paper.
That was amazing.
I thought you knew. No, I didn't know. Why would I know?
Oh, amazing. All right, Jez, any final thoughts before we sign off tonight?
Yeah, WWE is awesome. That's what.
2019 WWE makes me want to cry thinking about it every time. You just talked about Brock's cash in was 2019. The Hell in a Cell was 2019. I quit watching wrestling. I'm amazed I've got a YouTube channel after 2019. God bless Triple H. It's the only reason I'm here.
Indeed.
For those of you watching, whether it's live or whether you're watching on the repeat, make sure you check out Logan Paul's new podcast because he's got one with Michael Cole.
I'm
and
halfway,
really-
3/4 way through it. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
some really interesting some points on this, and it's really cool to hear Cole talk about some certain things. Some things are a little bit tricky to hear, and you see how he's trying to distance himself, and he has his thoughts and opinions, but some stuff he does open up on, and yeah, it's a good watch.
The problem with that is he said one thing, and that's the only thing Twitter has actually cared about. It's him going, "We don't do wrestling, we do storytelling. We've separated for years." That's why
exactly what it is. Wrestling without the storytelling isn't WWE.
Is AEW.
Apparently, it's where the best wrestle. I mean, I don't know when they're on, but
You know what? I'll give AEW one thing then before you go, because obviously we talk about Raw and Smackdown. Having Edge in Australia with his theme song being sung by the crowd.
another thing they're copying from WWE fans.
They are, but it's still no one's done it yet, and it was
Very cool.
so lovely. And if you're going to do it for someone, do it for him.
They don't if it was Canada, but they did it in Australia.
If he, well, no, look, I tell you, if he hadn't have jumped off the bloody set off the cage,
Broke
broke
his
fell,
ankles.
and he was actually in London, he would have got it in London because the way the crowd were there, I was there, we were great. Oh, cool. AEW friends, all in friends.
I stick with WWE. I'm not easily swayed like you
Yeah,
two.
I mean, the crowd. It was much smaller this time.
Oh, I'll go there.
There was a huge stage. Yeah, there was a huge stage this time compared to last time. You know, it did feel a bit different. But the way that they sang for Daniel Bryan and his theme song, you know, they would have done that for Edge, and that would have been amazing. We just didn't get the opportunity. So
Yeah.
I just can't wait for Bash in Paris, which is the worst fucking name for a
oh, the clash in Paddy.
Clash in Paris, which is a terrible name. They just Clash at the Castle works. Clash in Paris doesn't.
Well, it should have been
work.
Clash at the Chateau or something. You know, that's what it should have been.
We're going to take you and hit you with a brie. It is going to clash in the chateau. Oh.
Yeah, we'll sign off on that note. Alex, anything you want to add before we go?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel at Alex Manjune Racing. I released a video yesterday, I think, which was a track guide for the new South Coast Karting. Had a great day racing down at South Coast Karting down in Bournemouth, and there will be a video for that coming along soon. So, so keep an eye on the channel. We've just gone over 1,200 subs. Well on our way to 1,300 subs, which is lovely. So I want more of those, likes, subscribes, and all that jazz.
And Sam, what about you?
Come and join us on Sam's on Wrestling, mainly on YouTube, but I do put the odd thing on TikTok. What have I got this week? This week we are doing a brackets tournament of John Cena's greatest ever matches. And it turns out he has many. The whole 5 moves we're doing thing, rubbish. We've got 32 bangers we have to decide between.
Wow.
Our power rankers this week is Finley. Love the Beist. And we do a monthly thing called the Sam's on Wrestling Hall of Fame, where we add a match, moment, and a segment to our Hall of Fame. They don't have to be the best. I'll give an example. Triple H versus Scott Steiner from the Royal Rumble 2003 is in our Hall of Fame. And I'll point out that I'm going to be talking a lot about WCW is going to be entering the Hall of Fame this week. So come and join us for Sam's on Wrestling. I definitely don't talk about Dean Malenko rolling out of the ring. I don't know what you're on about.
Oh, I have to check that out. Wow. Okay. Wow, that match made the Hall of Fame. Okay. I need to digest name.
I don't even know that, man. That's beyond my scope.
Oh, all right. Okay. Generally, we'll finish just for you, just a bit of education for you. They were having Billy Kidman was had to have 3 matches in the night, and he took on Dean Malenko in a catch-as-catch-can match, which essentially was don't leave the ring. You can't leave the ring. Billy's punching him. This is a minute into the match. He's punching him. Dean, as a heel, rolls out of the ring. Accidentally, completely on autopilot. They were meant to go 10 minutes. He rolled out a minute, and the ref was like, ding, ding, ding.
Of all people, Dean Malenko, like the pro of pros, jeez.
And he didn't know, like, what have I done? What have I done? It's really fun.
That's amazing.
It's WCW in 2000.
Oh, brilliant.
Wonder why they went bust.
Right. Well, look, thank you very much for joining us this week, or whether you watch us live. We are going to be live every week, every Wednesday at 8:30. Except next week, actually, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to do a show next week because I'm moving house. So I don't think I'll have any of my equipment
Oh, and
available.
Manchester as well.
So, okay. So yeah, next week there might be a bit of a break. So what we'll do is maybe not be having a show on the Wednesday, but we will do a show prior to Elimination Chamber and we'll do predictions and so forth. If I'm available, I might be able to just jump on TikTok on my phone and talk about WWE then. And yeah, that's about it. So gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. A pleasure. Absolutely love chatting wrestling with you guys. And for everybody else, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified on YouTube. For the audio version of this podcast, you can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible. Anyway, you get podcasts, we are there. And that's it. So until next time, peace out.
Peace.